I saw the goalpost moving from TORY didn't shoot her at all to he only shot her in the foot. There's no good. There's no good way to get shot, people. There's no good way to get shot. I saw a lot of people saying, "Well, he just shot her in the foot. Why did he get 10 years?" And I'm like, my nigga, what? I'm like, yeah. Hey man, if somebody shot me in the foot, I'd be very happy with them doing 15 years. I'd be very happy with that. Plus 15 plus years if somebody shot me in the foot. There's no good way to get shot. Me?
It's a red flag.
Up all up on your body. The way you screamed and shouted was so really fucking naughty. But let's go and get it started. We gon' crack this party. We got a folding chairs and now we gon' be broken hearted.
Yo, wait a minute. We gotta put a beat under that. That was good. Bars. Sway in the morning. Holy shit. That was good. This motherfucker's got a career ahead of him.
Oh my, that boy's good.
That boy is good. You don't miss.
Give it up for my nephew.
Don't miss.
Oh man, AB, how you doing? Alvin, how you doing?
I am okay.
Oh, damn. You need me to beat somebody up?
Who parents we need to talk to?
If you want to, go fight Trump, that would be fine.
Hell yeah. Who don't want to fight Trump?
Are we legally allowed to say that yet? How long does the Secret Service shit extend?
This is jokes.
I'm fairly certain for ex-presidents it's lifetime.
You're right.
Okay, all right. These are jokes. These are jokes. This is a metaphorical jumping with words and feelings.
Yeah. They yoinked up Kathy Griffith off that shit. But yeah, man, how have you been, with regard to, I don't know, fade in the water or whatever? I feel like that shit is, I was saying before on the live, I feel like that shit is already, we did just kind of, create some content off it, but it feels like it's like low-key dead already. Like, it just feels like it happened and then just an avalanche of content and it's like, it's dried up now. It feels like a dead horse getting beat.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The Montgomery Riverboat Brawl. I know Alvin knows what it is.
Oh, I'm about to be hella surprised.
Yeah, he's chronically online with regard to Twitter. So he knows, but, it's just different terms, in different circles.
Yes. Fade in the water is what, one of my favorite AKAs for the situation.
It's not bad. It's not bad. I mean, I don't...
Shout out Cindy Noir, if that was her credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of all chuckled out about it around day 2. So, like, I've already moved on mentally. So...
Yeah, exactly my point. It felt done the first day, and then the TORY shit dropped, and it was like, okay, well, I guess that was the end of that. But, happy Black History Week.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like it was a cool moment for what it was, but I also think a lot of people driving conversations online are, to be frank, upper middle crust niggas that, found their blackness when they were 23 and they decided to go to college and, get woke and shit. So I feel like seeing a bunch of niggas like defend ourselves is kind of new for them. So I get why they would like it a little bit more than I did. Like, I'm not saying I didn't like it, but I'm just saying why they would latch on to it rather. Why they would latch on to it a little bit more than I did. But it was kind of just like, do clownery and the clown come back to bite you kind of shit. Cool, funny. I'm moving on. But I understand why that will resonate a lot stronger with certain sects of the online community that are driving conversations.
That is an interesting, because I'm not sure I get what you mean. Like, are you saying that among people who are not, or among Black people who aren't, what's the old girl that they was roasting, Jamel Hill? Like, among people that aren't within that category, are you saying that beating up white people is a little bit more common? Is that the implication?
Yeah. And I imagine especially in places where there are lots of Black people, which Alabama is. Like, Alabama is, when you're from the South, and especially for viewers, right? There are places, say like if you're like a Cali nigga, where like, that's like 10% Black. There are places in the Southeast that are approaching 35+% Black, right? So like you go to certain places and it's like it's niggas galore. So that kind of interaction kind of happens a little bit more frequently than is recorded. So I'm a little bit more used to it than I would say a lot of people driving conversations. As I imagine you and Josh are as well. Like I imagine like seeing like a stupid person win a stupid prize is not like the most like outlandish thing like any of us have seen.
I haven't really seen, like I was thinking, I haven't really seen a whole bunch of like white people getting tuned up by a group of black people for being on bullshit myself, honestly. I have, because I was, another conversation came up about like white people in black spaces. I have seen a lot of like white kids get like maybe bullied or maybe beat up when they were on some fuck shit within a school context. And that's the closest thing to that I've seen. But the Montgomery shit, truthfully, not really. Which I don't know. Yeah. Maybe I'm up.
And I will say, like it was definitely like bigger than like stuff that I've seen. Right, like it wasn't a small potatoes kind of thing. But I'm just saying, like the smaller stuff that I've seen kind of made that kind of like a natural progression. I was like, okay, that is real fucking swell. That was nice to see some solidarity. Now, you know, I'm going to watch it a few times. I'm going to look at the different angles. It was a very solid afternoon of fun for me. Like I had a very good time ingesting that content.
Several minutes.
Yeah. I would even say I revisited a couple hours later. You know what I mean? Because again, like different angles kept dropping. So I did 100% revisit it. But it was like people who were talking about it around day 3. I was kind of like, you know, NFL preseason's coming on.
A good point there, because there was a very, like, I wasn't seeing. Like, now that I think about it, I feel like the usual black internet really wasn't responding to it as strongly as the like college educated millennial black internet, which is interesting.
That it had very big "we are not my ancestors" energy. Like a lot of the stuff that I saw, and I was like,
"What's that?
We are not our ancestors" energy.
Oh, like, so as in like, we're not peaceful.
So that was very much some like new nigga type shit. This "we are not my ancestors." Okay. You know, we are not our ancestors.
No, I didn't. I don't know that phrase.
Yeah. So like it was the whole aspect of, you know, well, you know, my ancestors would have let white people get away with this shit, but I'm not going to stand for it. Kind of, you know, new nigga kind of shit, which is very antithetical to how our ancestors actually operated. If our ancestors were that weak and docile and didn't push back on shit, then most of the freedoms that we enjoy today wouldn't exist. So our ancestors were not that, but it's that logic, right? It's that kind of same ethos that pervades that kind of demographic. And I saw those people latching onto it a lot harder than others.
You know what? You're right, because I didn't see any of the usual like black like the black comedy creators. I didn't see them making much content about it in the same way.
I didn't just too saturated already at the same time too.
Maybe, maybe.
That's also true, man. It got pushed very hard, very quick.
Yeah,
I think King Bach did well. Like King Bach.
I haven't seen him do anything, but King Bach just seems. Right? Is it Bach? Is it pronounced Bach like the musician?
I thought it was Bach.
It's true.
I thought it was Batch. I mean, I mean, whatever, you know, Batch.
But I don't know. I'm not, you know,
right.
BNCH.
I haven't watched a nigga since like Vine, so I wouldn't know. But
Bash.
When he dropped his little skit on it, I was like, oh shit, man, it's over.
It's done. It's done now. Yeah, because I didn't see. I'm trying to think who the people would be that I'd be looking for to do that kind of skit shit. Maybe Drewski, but he doesn't do as much like current.
He doesn't do topical. I guess RDC. Yeah, he doesn't do topical.
He doesn't do topical. RDC probably does topical. So maybe them would have been.
Yeah, RDC. Yeah, and there would be like an RDC who would come up with a skit because like they quick with it, like especially when it comes to
Chris
sports.
Rock shit, they was immediately.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good ass point, Alvin. You're right. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's why I felt a little bit tired of it so immediately. Because with Jemele Hill, like when she said, "Oh man, black people are blacktivitying to the maximum of the function," or whatever she said, that people started roasting her for. And they started posting pictures of her with her white husband or whatever. Oh, it was like, come on, stop trying to black it up. Like, just calm down.
And Jemele Hill gets a lot of heat for that kind of shit. And I just want to say, like I'm a Jemele Hill fan. I think she broke down a lot of barriers.
I know nothing about her, so I'm not.
For black women in the sports commentary world and the sports journalism world, I think like she did a lot of lead work. You know, it was like her and like Kari Champion. You know, like without them, I don't think you really get Taylor Rooks being like at the status she is right now, like that kind of situation. So like I like Jemele Hill, but like she does do that shit all the time, and it's funny every time she does it. Every single time I laugh.
And I feel like it's a fine. I mean, because I've definitely the thing that you outlined of like a black person trying to find their blackness and not finding it until maybe way later in life, and so they're like, they have like broken English in a language that technically should be their first language or something like that, and so they say weird shit like that. I'm like, yeah, look, it's funny, you're gonna get roasted, but like, you know, fair enough. Like, that's we all
started somewhere and everything, man. Like you can, you know what I mean? Like you can pick any given thing. And somebody started in that from a similar like state, like very late in life.
Also, sometimes you just go, well, this thing isn't for you though. Like maybe you don't pick up a particular kind of black scent if it's not the one you were raised with. You just go, yeah, I'm black, but this is the way that I talk. I'm not gonna pick this up as my style of language in order to like participate in the thing if I'm constantly fucking up the grammar and it just feels forced.
I don't know, man. So I think that's hard too, because I definitely think and we've talked about this on Twitter, I want to believe, like way back when, but I do think a lot of cultural cues are strictly just language cues. Like I think we heavily predicate quote unquote blackness on speech patterns. So for example, I always give the example that like if T.I. talked like T.I. but acted like Carlton Banks, people would still think he was T.I. They would still think he was down, whatever, blah, 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 blah. If Carlton Banks did everything and lived the exact same life that T.I. lived.
Hey, C-Note, how do I figure my net worth?
Yo, how many times I gotta tell you? Write your questions down, I'll hook you up later.
I'm sorry. That was rude of me, man.
Yo, we cool?
They love me.
But talk like Carlton Banks, people would still like feel a certain type of way of what he do. I feel like a lot of what people perceive as blackness in that space, language cues are doing a huge bit of the heavy lifting on that.
I can't disagree one way because I'm trying to.
And it's just a theory. It's just a theory. So like, you know, I'm not.
I'm not, and I don't have a theory. I hadn't even thought about it to have an alternative theory. But I'm thinking about people like, because there are black celebrities who have that voice, but are and I'm trying to think of like a Michael Eric Dyson, Niels Degrasse.
They sound they very clearly niggas.
Yeah, but so is Carlton with
the way they talk, right? Neither of them have this gee golly Tom Jones kind of voice like Carlton does.
Neil deGrasse Tyson absolutely has that. Like they have a timbre to their voice that is very black.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's a big part
Carlton
of it.
Does too.
No, he doesn't.
If you heard Carlton, you're not. If I heard his voice by itself with no face, I don't think I hear a black person. There's no way I wouldn't identify his voice as a black person. I think
Carlton Banks, no. I think
there are white.
Alfonso Ribeiro, yes. I don't think like the character that he was doing, because he was amping that up ever so slightly with that character for effect. And I'm specifically talking about the character.
If we're talking timbre to where you can't distinguish this person's voice from a black person versus a black person who doesn't have that's not actually
not what I mean, right? So I'm saying that there's a difference between like how you talk as a black person and saying like you're a real nigga basically, and like you're a black person that's like a Carlton Banks black person, which we all know what the connotations of
yeah.
So like I'm not saying that people don't like view them and say like this person does not have black skin. This person is not.
No, that's not even what I was saying. You were saying
what I'm saying. What I'm saying is like 100%. There are voice cues that people say like, oh, this isn't a real nigga, and we all know what like the voice cues are of like what a real nigga sounds like.
And I'm saying Neil deGrasse don't have it. I think we understand each other. Neil deGrasse don't have none of that.
He sounds much more real nigga than Carlton Banks does.
That's a very low bar.
That's why I use it. So it's a very clear distinction of what that is.
Do Neil deGrasse Tyson have a real nigga accent?
It's a spectrum of it, right?
Yeah, it's a spectrum. You right?
No, seriously, everything's a fucking spectrum. Like for example,
I agree. I'm agreeing with you.
like my nigga, I grew up in public housing. There are people like if I was like not at home like a lot, for example, like I would go back to the hood and people would be like, Alvin, you sound funny now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was like, everything's a fucking spectrum. But he's much higher than Carlton Banks as a character, not Alfonso Ribeiro. But
back to the actual point of like everybody falls on the spectrum. Neil deGrasse
First of all, let's pause. We can pick this conversation up. I think it's very interesting. But first, let me introduce the podcast.
Yes, sir.
first of all, everybody, welcome to Waving the Red Flag podcast, your #1 R&B remix and linguistics podcast in the world, the universe even, some might say. I don't know if I would agree with them. You know, at least the tri-state area. Tonight you got Alvin, you got Josh, you got Eddie. You guys got anything to plug before we pop back into this very, very interesting anthropological linguistics conversation that we somehow found ourselves in?
I would just like to plug PURPLECHEW, the dick softening pill.
Yes, sir.
For any of my brothers out there who have been stricken with the ability to gain an erection naturally and not have it go down, yes, PURPLECHEW, we will be plugging that. You know,
the priapism solution for you.
Absolutely. You know, type in discount code, wave the red flag.
Waving the limp flag.
Red flag.
Yep.
Yeah. Bet. Plug
half
away.
mast.
Yeah, exactly. Half mast. Take that flag down, buddy. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely.
Oh man, before I got PURPLECHEW, my life was just in shambles. I couldn't go to public events. I was knocking things off the low shelves. I mean, it was just a mess.
Awful. Just awful. And no one should go through life dealing with that. Why should you have to go through said embarrassment? You don't deserve it. So that's why you need PURPLECHEW.
Give your girl a rest. PURPLECHEW.
Give your girl a rest and give your dick a break. It needs it.
Very good.
Yeah, I just feel like I think we kind of exhausted it really, but like, yeah, look, if you're a black person and you want to like do your thing of learning whatever, I don't know, like do it to whatever extent you're comfortable with getting roasted as you like have a problem with the language. Like
just don't do it at the spades table. Like that gets a little bit too serious for you to be learning. You need to learn that shit on your own time. Get some kind of like space.
Don't be asking questions there.
Yeah, don't be trying to partner up with me and ask me to carry you. This is a team sport.
Yeah, no. See, that's why I never really fuck with space like that.
Yeah, people get too serious about that shit.
Yeah, I know it's kind of blasphemous, but yeah, I know kind of how to play space, but it's like one of them things. It's like I don't remember well enough because so I'm not even about to insert myself into that shit because
yeah,
that's how fights get started. That's how you ain't cool with people.
All right, so I'm looking at my calendar right now. We will get a special spade session on the Google Calendar for you two.
All right.
I got a few dates in mind.
When you say special, do you mean like remedial for us?
Yeah,
okay,
100%.
Gotcha. That's a bit offensive, but
that's gonna come actually included with Negro language.
Okay.
Vernacular lessons too.
Negronics level 1, Rosetta Stone.
And how you should slam the cards down on the table when you've won a round,
and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
How to keep the books, all that.
Okay.
Alvin's gonna teach us.
That actually seems like the kind of thing that like black actors who are like either from the UK or like not from the hood have to go through in order to get roles in Hollywood. Like I feel like you have to get extra black linguistics training to really like nigrify it, Like that, like I've seen so many of these actors where it's like, I know that you're not like that in real life. Like you're not any of that. You had to train to like play this role that they cast you as.
And it's always crazy to me, like the ones that do it like super well, like
Terrence Howard ain't like that.
Yeah, Terrence Howard's not like.
We do what the fuck we gotta do, man. By any means. Ain't that right?
That nigga ain't like that.
I also don't think Terrence Howard did it particularly well, but I'm thinking like Idris Elba. You know what I mean? Like
I thought he did pretty well in Hustle and Flow.
Man, I laughed all through fucking Hustle and Flow.
You think I like this shit? You think I want to spend the rest of my life pimping your pimple country ass?
Okay,
Hustle and Flow was hilarious.
I need to rewatch it because I was like,
no, but Idris Elba. I think the concept was awesome.
Okay, yeah.
But like fucking Idris Elba in like The Wire, I think did a phenomenal job. I didn't even know that nigga was British until like years later.
Really? It always seemed off to me. It always seemed off to me. I'm always shocked by people saying that because his accent always seemed a little bit off for like a Baltimore dude to me.
And then that's also weird too because Baltimore dudes have like a poor British accent. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Like the but. I do think there's room for, opinion on that. But I also thought that like Snowfall was a good example. I think Judas and the Black Messiah.
I also think his accent is off.
No, man, I thought that accent was great as like I'm the hood nigga that went to like private school, like kind of like situation.
Maybe.
I thought that played well.
because it seemed slightly too proper relative to every other character, and it felt like he was just.
But
doing
that's
like
why. No, but that's why.
But here's the thing that fucked me. Oh, well, you know what? To be fair, it kind of did fit because he had an accent that to me was very like like he obviously ripped Denzel's accent to create his American black accent.
I built this shit. Me. Brick by brick. And I'll be damned if I let you tear it down just because you don't like the way another nigga talk.
I don't give a damn what he does. Send his ass home. Hey. Don't rub on that. You block that. You understand? That's alpaca. That's $25,000 alpaca. You block that shit. Right. You don't rubble. Put the club soda on there. Look, I'll talk to Simon ass motherfucker. And listen, from now on.
It felt very out of time. But Snowfall is like in the 80s or some shit, right? So it kind of because nobody has that accent anymore. Like the accent that he's doing is not a modern black male accent.
Yeah, so it's a 70s upstate New York accent, like Denzel's accent.
Yeah, exactly. Which they're supposed to be in Cali, I think, right? Is that where they're
at? It's Cali. Yeah.
Which just didn't. I don't know. It didn't. But I don't know. That's.
But what you call it in Judas and the Black Messiah? Like I remember watching that movie. I mean the trailer for that movie, and then watching speeches of fucking Fred Hampton like prior, and I was like.
You did a good job.
Kaluuya is fucking good. He's good. His character in Get Out was like a perfect. It was just like very understated, effortlessly black. Wasn't trying to be a caricature one way or the other. There's just a college educated white girlfriend, still a bit freaked out, has black friends. This is just his accent.
Rose, give me those keys. Rose, give me those keys. Rose, now, the keys.
This motherfucker is straight out of Essex or Worcestershire or wherever the fuck he's from. But
I'm damned if I do and damned if I don't in this one, innit?
It works. So yeah, I'll give it to you on Daniel Kaluuya. His American accents are very good, and his Fred Hampton bordered on an impression, but worked. Yeah.
Shout out Lakeith Stanfield too, even though he wasn't necessarily a gangster, but great actor all around.
American, so. Yeah, true.
True that. I just want
short term 12.
I didn't say much.
All right. So what do we want to go into first? We got a bunch of topics here.
What do y'all think about whatever happened to the American dream? Did we fail men? How Ford got into pegging? One of those.
What was the one before pegging?
Did we fail men? Whatever happened to the American dream?
Well, we know you want to talk about pegging, Josh. We know your feelings on this, so let's get into it.
I got it.
Hey, look, every time it come up, you ready to talk on it. Let's go.
No, hold on. Don't do that. don't do that, killer.
Yeah. Josh, I was gonna. Yeah, that was the worst possible. You were like, what? Me? Not me.
See, look, that's
always discussing
that. Look, y'all got my blackness fucked up because that was a very typical American black man, understated, not trying too hard. That was a very natural response. Y'all got me.
That was played by yourself.
No, I don't. I don't want to talk about pegging. Not me.
That was a very good callback, Josh. Top tier callback, Josh. 10 out of 10 callback. Good job. Oh, shit.
If Eddie could find the tape easily, one album did
it. I have sex for pleasure.
I have sex for pleasure.
I love it. The pussy's so juicy. The tits are like sandbags. I love it. It's wonderful.
Oh my god. Oh, all right, Alvin, it's up to you, man. Which one you want to go with?
I'm actually fine with any of those.
Man, let's do the pegging, bro. I just said.
All right, fuck it.
We know what you want to do.
All right, cool. Go ahead, Josh.
We know what you want to do, Eddie. We know.
Take it away. Take it on in.
You take the lead on that one.
Open it up.
All right.
Let it in.
All right. Well, shoot, I'm about to zip it up and zip it out then, goddamn it.
Okay.
Roll the video then, my nigga.
Let's go. Well, let's see.
And we would go towards the wildest shit that's on this bitch.
He's saying we like he didn't pick the shit. Like he's saying like we. Yeah, man. We would do this.
We would.
Three.
And you only did the first one just to throw us off the trail. You said, we can talk about this thing. We can talk about pegging, or we can talk
caps. But y'all projecting now, bro. Especially you, nigga.
Don't put it on us, man.
You projecting hard, bro.
Hey, look, man. Stand on it with your chest. 10 straps down.
You stand on
straps
it,
down. You sit on it. Come on.
Damn, that was pretty good. Damn.
Well, how about you suck on it then, nigga? Shoot, really
You can't
ingest the
even-
flavor
Okay,
then.
now
How
it's getting
about that?
homoerotic, bro. This is
All right.
Stop making a back and forth. Now,
Really just
now
suckle
there's an
on it, you know,
interaction.
just let it melt in your mouth. Get in there, let the flavor get to know you. You get to know the flavor. How about that? Okay.
Hey, look, man, that's your type of time. I'm good. I don't consent. You got it.
At the end of the day, Eddie, you did put this list of topics together. Maybe you're just doing this. Maybe you just gave Josh your playbook. Because you just put all this shit in there, but you was like, maybe we'll get into this situation right here.
And that's what you call entrapment.
Y'all got me fucked up because let me tell you right now. I'm down for trying out pegging. I'm down for it. Fuck it.
Oh.
I done definitely jerked off to some pegging porn. That shit is hot. The fuck?
Okay.
What y'all thought I was gonna say? No, not I.
Okay, see, that's what I'm talking about, bro. That's projecting, man. So he really wanted to talk about it, but he just really pushing it off heavy on me. Like, oh, I get 3 options. Oh, well, let's go with the pegging because Josh really want to fucking do it. Every time we talk about pegging, Josh is really the one that's ready. 5 minutes later. Oh, nigga, I'm down for it. I don't want to get my ass ripped asunder. And that's fine. That's cool.
In
betwixt thine cheeks. Do y'all even know who 4 is?
I have no idea who that man is.
I've never heard this dude before.
But no, but I feel like Josh, you have expressed, we have mutually expressed some interest in female domination repeatedly, as well as transgender women, dicked femmes, if you will. So I feel like I don't know. That's
wild.
I think that's politically correct. I think you're allowed to say that one. So within that context, you know, you know.
Yeah, I definitely have like a thing for like women in power, like, you know, in the bedroom, like, you know, that kind of that type of stuff does turn me on. As far as like a real life, me crossing that line, I don't know.
I thought you said knee crossing, and I was like, that's crazy, because that is what you would like if you really was trying to get, you know, you would cross your knees.
Would I? I would. You would.
Yeah,
that's
what
that
tightens it up. Because that's what you do when you cross a girl's knees. That tightens everything up. Hits the walls even better. You never heard about that?
I'm trying to think, because, like, you know, when you get them in the buck, you know, you got them legs. You know what I'm saying? Then you put the legs on. Then you bang, bang, bang. You know what I'm saying?
If you get them like this, then that's knee over knee.
Ooh. Play around with that one.
Let's talk about the pegging.
You want to see it?
Oh, Jesus.
Yes.
That was
this
a wild
pegging video.
I
thought I saw it enough. No, I want to see it.
So that was real?
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
Okay. How did you know you liked it?
It was just the fact of like, here you go. I get the sound off though, but you can check me out.
Laura, we're gonna need you to close your mouth.
Somebody get in it.
Oh, she thrusting that bitch.
Yeah. So
how did you know you liked that?
So what happened was I used to date a lot of women that was like a little dominant. You know what I'm saying? So at a young age, I had a girl that was into eating ass, right? Before sucking my dick. I'm like, damn, this is different, right? She said licking ass for her and her religion, it's a sign of royalty. When she said that, she was dead ass serious.
What religion is that?
And I'm like,
no pun intended.
I'm trying to see what that's like.
Damn, so like Muslim.
Then I started dealing with a woman that was into the same type of things. So
There's a lot of pork down there.
I'm getting more comfortable, right? Then I started dating this one girl that she was into like doing little fingers and little.
Okay, one more, because he further elaborates.
Yeah.
So anal play, stuff like that. So it's like over time.
It was a buildup.
It was a buildup. So
and that's where your G spot is.
Absolutely.
And that's when I learned. I had one girl like she would go the dick, the balls, you know what I'm saying, and the G spot all in one. So it's getting super crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
That's too much work for me.
Some girls will make it harder for the next girl. Like, hey, you ain't finna go nowhere. I'm gonna treat you different. And you like, shit, I ain't going nowhere. Shit, you ain't doing what she finna do to me. Like, you know, because you feel different. When it comes to the bedroom, like if we're gonna have fun, let's have fun. Ain't no rules in the bedroom.
Like I done got used to.
Hey, hey, look.
First of all, I respect it.
Yeah,
I respect it. You know what I'm saying? Once again, I can enjoy some pornographic images like where a woman is like in a dominant position, right?
Okay, can you specifically strap though?
Huh? Can I what?
No. Well, you finish your thought if it was a good one, but Okay, so what my question was,
where you
have
going
you
with this one, buddy?
No. You get into it. It's not nothing. I'm just talking about what we talk about. I ain't gonna go nowhere crazy or any more crazy than what we already on. I'm just asking, have you specifically ever watched pegging porn?
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it.
It's come up in the algorithm. This nigga,
I've seen it. Yeah.
Non-committal. I've heard of it.
Privacy. Hey.
Okay, all right. Hey, look, fair enough. If that's okay. Yeah. Oh shit.
But yeah, I've seen.
How
but yeah, I respect anybody that can be that open and that honest with their proclivities and things that they really like to do and enjoy doing in the bedroom, and to also subject themselves to a lot of heat and criticism from from a certain segment of people. You know what I mean? Definitely. So I respect it. Just because he really likes that, don't mean the next man won't. And hey, if that's what somebody like to do in the bedroom, who give a fuck? Ain't nobody saying that you got to do it if you don't fuck with it, or if you can't get with that idea of what he's doing.
Okay, very diplomatic. I like it.
That's how I feel.
Diplomatic. Yeah. No, I mean that's true. It's just very, cool. That's what's happening over there. Now to the weather. Yeah. Look, I've never done that. I've not just seen it. I've watched plenty of porn and quite enjoyed it. I think there's something very attractive about, or very sexy about it, like a particularly feminine woman fucking a dude. It's very hot. It depends on the mood. Like I wouldn't say it's like a treat every. It's like the McRib for me. I wouldn't say it would be the regular thing that I would jerk off to usually, but when I'm in that mood,
gotcha.
Like, yeah, this is
you get a McRib. You get a McRib to jerk off to.
You get a McRib.
Jerk off to specifically.
If it's available. Sometimes it comes up in the feed and you go, oh, you know what?
Yeah. Oh,
for a limited time only, I could go for this.
The McRib is always available in this country.
It's like American apple pie. You just stick your dick in it.
Yeah.
True.
Y'all ever tried it?
That's what sticking your dick in one of them fried apple pies is, because it is kind of. I mean, it's not. It doesn't have a ton of space, but it is kind of.
Well, actually,
a little hot pocket.
Something that I was talking about completely tongue in cheek. This nigga was like, "Well, actually, I have thought about,
I thought you were about to say, "Well, he's actually done it."
A ham and cheese hot pocket. I could probably make that work.
McDonald's warning labels finna be wild from now forward.
Oh my god.
Atlanta man burns his penis off trying to stick it inside of a hot fried apple pie.
Third degree burns.
Got the cinnamon dick.
Right. It's on the news.
His dick is permanently delicious.
Oh my goodness. That's a hell of a tagline. It's permanently delicious. I'm
fucking it.
Believe they loving it.
Yeah. Oh shit. I want to talk about that algorithmic diet thing, if y'all again, about that old man who's stealing his son's blood to goddamn be 18, but really he looks 55.
Those are all the pills you take in one day.
111, because that's where the data led me. This is how you don't die.
Brian Johnson.
The man who spends $2 million a year to slow down his age.
He's managed to reverse his biological age already
to an 18-year-old. Projected to live to 200.
The only objective we have is don't die. I've opted into an algorithm that takes better care of me than I can myself. It sounds overwhelming in the beginning, but trust me on this. So my bedtime is at 8:30.
And you had 100% sleep?
4 months straight now.
What about hanky-panky?
Not after 8:30.
Alcohol?
3 ounces every morning with breakfast.
For breakfast?
For breakfast. My last meal of the day is at 11 a.m. and every calorie has to fight for its life.
You were very kind in bringing me some food. Presumably this is what you eat.
That's right. If you ask the body, what do you want to eat to be in ideal health? This is the answer that it generated.
That is a mushroom covered in chocolate.
How fun.
I like the idea because I was arguing with somebody about whether or not that's like too much or it's dumb or whatever. And I feel like doing interesting shit or pushing science forward or pushing biohacking shit forward, somebody has to do it. I think it's a worthwhile venture. And cool, make fun of them, cool. But I think it's corny to make fun of the concept. And 2, how he looks isn't the only metric. Like, obviously this nigga look his age, right?
And he's 55.
And like people,
he's 45, but yeah,
45.
And people misinterpret something that he says, right? So like they were saying that he's reversed his biological clock so that he has like he's much younger than his age biologically, right? So like if you do like a full panel like assessment, right, they will give you like a biological age, and 9 times out of 10, if you're not like smoking, and if you're not like severely overweight, and if you're, which is also controversial by the way, because there are also like studies on a lot of sides on like whether or not weight is even like directly like linked to anything.
I'm curious about that. Yeah,
it's much less clear cut than people think it is. But like, again,
because I always thought it was pretty. Yeah,
but if you're not overweight, if you don't smoke, and if you're not a severely heavy drinker, which actually is pretty hard to be, your biological age is probably going to be younger than your actual like calendar age, almost invariably. Right. Like I remember the last time I had one of these workups, I was 27 or some shit, and it was like, oh, well, you have the biological age of like a 19-year-old, and I was like, oh, cool shit.
Very
like,
nice.
Like
I'm not dying.
Yeah, and it was that's the kind of shit it is. So I do think there's some nuance to how that was presented, but I do also understand they presented it because that's what this is the response they wanted when they did that.
Yeah, it's clickbait. It's meant to get people to go to flame him and shit like that. Like that's what. But yeah, I think it's a worthwhile thing to go. How can we be more than healthy? How can we extend life? How can we extend viable, healthy, enjoyable life? So,
if you recall, when I first started this little project with you, it was mostly in my capacity as an epidemiologist. But so there's tons of research going on in the actual scientific community on like senescence research, like aging and how you stop it, how you do it. Like there are some very well-researched candidates for how you stop it in terms of like your biological processes internally as well as externally. And I'm also super interested in that kind of shit. So I know, I know probably much more about it than like the average person, I'd say. So your first step, and almost every scientist like agrees with this, your first step for it is not going to be like stopping or reversing, is going to be replacement. That's step one.
Organs and things, for instance.
Yeah, that's what we're the closest to doing. Where it's like, oh shit, I'm 85, everything's failing. Oh, replace it.
Yeah,
with the 3D printed something that your body won't reject. That's the closest we're at to that. Like most of this shit with like these supplements that people are doing. Like if you wanted to take a supplement, there are a few that I would probably do. You probably don't need to take 200 of them. And
seems like overkill.
And most of the stuff that you should do. And I've told this story on this podcast before in those early days. So I had a neurotoxicology professor who used to do talks. And when you're a neurotoxicology professor, invariably when you go on these talks, somebody's going to ask you, what can I do to live the healthiest, longest life that I possibly can within the current Western world as it is, which is basically a petri dish. I could go through a list of a whole bunch of shit that we're all constantly being exposed to that is probably slowly killing us, that we will never get rid of.
Microplastics.
Microplastics, Teflon, the hydrobromated flame retardants that are in the cushions of almost invariably all the seats that we're sitting in all of our cars, et cetera, et cetera. We all three of us. So DDT was outlawed when like our parents were children, or even before for some of us, I'd imagine. We all still have body burdens of DDT. If I test your blood right now, you have body burdens of DDT. If I pull your
DDT?
bone,
Is that Agent Orange? What is that?
No, it's a pesticide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which was pulled off the market because it was harmful to the environment and to people. But we all still have body burdens of it because it's fat soluble, and when fat soluble stuff, it just persists throughout the environment. If I pull your bones, right? If I do a biopsy of your bones,
in there.
No, it's in your fat. It's in your fat. But if I do a biopsy of your bone, you all still have lead. Myself included, we all still have lead in our body. There's no healthy version where you have like lead in your system. Yeah, there's no healthy amount of lead in your system. So we live in a petri dish. So they ask,
I know, right? Everything's fucking killing us.
Yeah. So they'll ask my professor, like, what can you do, with the caveat of knowing, that we live in a petri dish of that nature. And his response is always very simple shit to live a happy, long, healthy life in that context. And it's like, cut out sugar, decrease your meat intake, eat organic, at least the dirty dozen, so to speak, organic fruits and vegetables, exercise at least mildly 30 minutes a day, get good sleep. And they're like, no, but what about some stuff that I can take? Like, can I like go to the supplement store and take something that'll do it? And he's like, I gave you the answer. And you want to go like take like 200 supplements because that makes you feel better and it's easier.
It feels like a magic thing.
Yeah.
Which
there is no magic bullet. It's lifestyle. It's exposures.
And I'm not an epidemiologist.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes with these conversations, people do want, like I've said before, sometimes like the common wisdom is the smart shit, but you don't think that, like, you think in order to get an uncommon goal, you must be doing something uncommon. So since people aren't living, 100 whatever years, you're going, okay, in order to do that, surely the answer can't be don't smoke, don't drink, eat your vegetables, work out, have a good social network. Surely it can't be that, because we've all heard that a million times. And it's like, but people aren't doing that.
Exactly. I don't think, and you've said some stuff over the years, and I think you get it. But I think that people discount exactly how hard that is for the vast majority of people within the societies we live in, right? Like our societies aren't built for us to live the world's like optimal lifestyle in the context of what that means.
And shit.
Yeah. Exactly. Like that shit is hard for the average person, right? Like try trying to tell, like a person working, in the current state of American society, usually more than 40 hours a week, barely making ends meet, taking care of the children, taking care of the household, and saying like, nah, you got to eat all organic and fucking, work out fucking an hour a day and like no sugar, and I need you to fucking meditate and also take care of your mental well-being. Like that shit's fucking
while
difficult.
Having a robust social life of people you enjoy being around. Like,
it's extremely difficult. So I think
the answer is a lot harder than it's more.
I think it's a simple answer, but I think it's one that's difficult to achieve.
That's fair. Now, see, my pushback would be, I think that your neurotoxic, I'm not an epidemiologist, but like your neurotoxicology professor, for instance, or people like that, where they say, hey, here's where you start. I agree, but I think if you want additional stuff on top of that, there are some things to be done. And when I look at like that dude who's taking 200 pills and using his son's blood, he's also, from my understanding, doing all of that regular shit too. Regular exercise and all that kind of shit, because he's trying to push it. He's not trying to hit how do you live a normal, healthy life to extend your life within the bounds of what we currently kind of already know. He's trying to go, how do I get to 150? And not how do we get it to where we can get some people to 150, which is what I think the answer to your the whole organ replacement is probably the most nearest viable way that we do that. He's going, how do I, the individual, get there? And I think the answer to that probably is maybe closer to whatever the fuck he's doing. Is it extra? Is it overkill? Well, yeah, that's the point. He's trying to discover something with himself as the vanguard. And then
I'd also say that that's probably where I'd get into some of the more like, nicely referring to myself, the theoretical stuff in terms of like how you push that stuff forward. Like I would again, like, because again, there are literal like institutions like devoted to this, like doing it from a scientific perspective. Take resveratrol.
True.
Take resveratrol. Like most people aren't doing that. Up your antioxidant like intake. Like
resveratrol.
Resveratrol. It's in red.
Resveratrol. Resveratrol. Okay. Let's see. Is a stilbenoid, a type of natural phenol when it comes from grapes. Okay. Can I get that from drinking wine?
Even with the definition,
you can get it from drinking. You can get it from drinking wine. You can get it from eating red grapes.
I know. I have no idea what the fuck a fennel is. I think it's like an onion.
It's a leek.
It's like a leek. Yeah, exactly. So I really don't know, but it comes from grapes apparently. I guess they're part of the same family or whatever. But yeah, I want to do that shit. So I'm, more power to you, Mr. White Man, whatever your name was.
Yeah, but it's like the stuff that you're doing that people have actually put like some work into, right? Like that's been shown to have. So it's effectively an antioxidant, right? And the
I'm
research
sure that's in his stack.
And the research of antioxidants is also kind of. There's a lot of correlation. There's not a lot of like clear understanding on the pathways in which it's protective.
All the Mediterranean's living mad long, but it's because of the sea salt, not from the wine or some shit like that.
Yeah, it's there are a lot of correlations. If you're taking 200 supplements, right, I almost guarantee that there's probably studies debunking the need or the benefit of at least 75 of them. And I'll probably say you should probably, if you're trying to push it further, you should probably reach into the stack of stuff that's a bit more hazy, right? So I would say like I do a lot of shit on the daily basis that ups my antioxidant like intake, like purely just for that reason. Like I drink like I drink black coffee like incessantly. I eat handfuls of blueberries. I eat red grapes. I eat red grapes all the time. I have a glass of red wine.
He don't even like red grapes.
I don't like any of the shit that I don't like any of the shit that I do. I do it because it's simple to get that intake in. So like I do stuff too, but like a lot of the stuff that he's doing, I can almost guarantee you has already been like effectively debunked.
Yeah, some amount maybe. Damn. So do you have a life extensions anti-senescence regimen? Is that what you're saying with regard to diet?
No, I'm saying I saw some articles in like the Scientific American at one point, and I like said, hey, why not? Actively saying like, oh, I need to take 200 pills. So I don't want to get it twisted as if like I'm some, like I don't want to get it twisted as if like I'm this guy, because I'm not. Because my expectation is that I should have enough money to replace stuff in 40, 50 years when it becomes relevant.
But do you think you're likely to, because my thinking or my fear there is that one, I think you're on a good trajectory to be able to be part of the earning or like the net worth layer to where you can have access to that kind of shit. But the question is whether or not you'll live long enough for it to touch that section of human history.
Yeah, we can do a lot of that stuff now, man. Like the last big hurdle, and again, we've talked about this on this podcast, the last big hurdle for like 3D printing like organ replacement, because they have a substance that the body won't fully reject, at least if not if you're on like immunosuppressants, was whether or not you could 3D print vasculature. And there are two separate labs, one at Stanford, one at MIT, that have effectively solved that problem, and that was like 2 years ago. So like we're moving at a very good clip in regards to that. Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to get my shit replaced. I'm trying to be a cyberpunk, really. I want to get better shit. Bicentennial man in reverse.
Yeah, I think we got time for one more before we have to wrap up.
Yeah.
Big facts.
I don't know. What about Joshua? Something that we can do. Like I kind of want to do Are We Failing Men, but Eddie Budden said I can't, so we can't do that one.
I didn't say that.
You did say that.
But don't fucking do it.
See? Don't fucking do it. We don't have the time. TORY gets 10. What do you think?
Oh, true. That's actually probably one of the bigger bits of news.
So TORY gets 10. What y'all think? I don't have many thoughts on it.
Eddie, kick us off.
I feel like I don't have enough evidence to like. I'm just going off of the verdict, right? Like looking back over the shit and my previous opinions and shit. I'm just like, he was found guilty, therefore that means he's guilty. There doesn't seem to be evidence suggesting that he didn't do it. I'm not seeing like droves of evidence coming from the people who say he didn't do it that looks like anything reasonable. So I'm kind of just taking that at face value. 10 seems. 10 seems about right. I was going to say it seems a bit heavy, but given the context and given how anybody else would be treated in a situation like this, firing a pistol that you're not allowed to own, injuring somebody with malice, that's about 10 years.
Yeah.
I've known people who've gotten,
and it's crazy that he probably won't serve 10 years, but yeah,
he'll be out in like 3 or 4.
Yeah, in the great state of Georgia, aggravated assault with a deadly weapon is 10 to 15, man. It's like a 7 deadly, man. Like you do that shit and it's like, oh shit. Also, for a lot of people, just for context, at least in the state of Georgia, like you don't have to even technically like shoot anybody for it to be assault, because there's a difference between,
because it's not battery.
Yeah, there's assault and battery. Assault is, the threat of the, all that kind of stuff. So like battery is like the physical action of doing that. So like aggravated assault with a deadly weapon can like get you like a shit ton of time.
Firing at somebody 10 years.
Yeah. Seems fair. And again, he probably won't even serve it. He probably won't even serve 10.
No.
Oh, no. And that's not to say that we're complaining.
Oh, I'm not.
Yeah.
About what?
Because there's a lot of chatters that's like, that's not enough time, or some people might just take like this bare what we're saying right now, like, oh my God, like I can't believe you guys are defending his time, and just like, oh my God, he might not serve it. I don't know, maybe that's just
I didn't even
like it could have been like somewhat insensitive.
Yeah, that's a very good call out, Josh.
I mean, 10 seemed like
let me put it like
10
this.
seems enough. I feel
hey
fine.
Man, if somebody shot me in the foot, I'd be very happy with them doing 15. I'd be very happy with that. 15 plus years if somebody shot me in the foot. There's no good way to get shot.
Me?
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to put myself in the place of the victim when I'm thinking about sentencing and how it would feel. Yeah,
I feel like you kind of have to do
I
a
want
bit
the
of
nigga
that,
locked
a bit
up.
of not. Yeah,
True.
locked up,
True.
sure. Because it's like this is a threat to my life. Because for me, I would not feel safe with this person being out and about. Because you really have to think, assuming that there's not some secret Adnan Syed like podcast is going to drop where we realize all the evidence was actually fucked up in some way. Assuming that doesn't happen, you have to think about how violent of an act in an argument as two artists pulling out a firearm and shooting at someone is. That's like, it's a murder weapon. That's not throwing a fist. That's not grabbing someone. That's shooting at their body and then injuring them. I would be terrified to have this person free and go and in the same spaces as me if we're both artists within the same industry. So locked away, definitely as a matter of just safety. But in terms of like what I would want if somebody, I'm like, you can go away for good. But that's like, I'm super, super biased to my own safety. So I feel like, and maybe it's insensitive to say, like, you kind of got to meter that a little bit in terms of like, okay, what does it make sense at the societal level? Does everybody go away for 15 years or?
Yeah, and I do think you have to temper it, but I also think that a lot of people were saying shit like from my online kind of analysis of the situation, I saw a lot of people saying, well, he just shot her in the foot. Why did he get 10 years? And I'm like, my nigga, what? I'm like,
yeah.
So like, and that was the goalpost that moved, right? And that's why, like, I think that discussing these situations for people that don't have the range, quite frankly, is kind of like ridiculous. You're only doing yourself a disservice. Because what happened was I saw the goalpost moving from TORY didn't shoot her at all to he only shot her. He only shot her in the foot. Is the transition those niggas make? There's no good way to get shot, people. There's no good way to get shot. So I think that when you are dealing with people who don't have the range, you kind of got to contextualize it a little bit. So I've been trying to contextualize it as a lens to kind of convey that to other people. So if I were to get like, think about it. If you were to get shot, like, what would you want in that situation?
It depends on the context, but
and 100% like view it through that lens and think about like what's fair and what's not to you. But I do agree with you. I think you bring up a good point, because if we only personalized it, then you get in certain contexts there's a lot of unfair like sentencing.
Like, because if some certain shit happened to me, I'm like, I low key want you to die. Like, but that's not how you make laws. You know? So I feel like, because criminal or not, and this goes back to a conversation we had about like the haircutting thing, which is that it is difficult to have these conversations when you're trying to talk simultaneously about accountability and justice for victims and prison industrial complex and like criminal reform or criminal justice reform and shit like that. To be like, if you're having a conversation about victims and then you make that conversation about overly punitive things, it kind of comes across as you minimizing the impact of the negative behavior. So it's a bit of a balancing act, which is why I'm like 10 seems about fair. It's not necessarily attempted murder. Didn't aim for the chest. There is a difference between those, but that's a dangerous kind of area to start entering, because then you start justifying shit, to your point.
Because I don't even want to say like I think it's fair per se, because the time given, cool. I don't know, maybe just like this, of course, like empathy for Meg, everybody involved too, but it's just like part of me just kind of like, when it happens, a lot of people kind of like paint a person as like this super evil, like villainous person, like just like the scourge of the earth. At one very crazy, one very wild, one very unfortunate sequence of events that probably got really out of hand. And I would say this with as much compassion for both parties as possible, because I'm not trying to be like, oh, TORY shouldn't be in jail. Like, nah. But I guess it's just kind of like the characterization that kind of comes with it. That comes with it when pushing for the actual sentencing and to actually convict somebody and to drive a guilty verdict. But yeah, 10, 15, shit. Nigga, goddamn, you fuck around and find out. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, nigga, why the fuck are you pulling out a gun on a woman? Like, I mean, I don't get that shit. Point blank here, like, especially, like, it's like, especially in that situation, like, you not in any danger. What the fuck?
No,
like,
it's purely to threaten somebody. Like, that's
right. What the fuck? So, I mean, for that stupidity, I mean, hell, hey, book him, lock him, throw away the key for 10 years. But again, he probably ain't even gonna do the full 10.
And I mean, my only thing is that, and we'll wrap it up here shortly. But I think my only issue with TORY is that TORY got thrown several bones in this situation.
Okay.
I think TORY had a lot of leeway in the situation to kind of resolve this, where it could have worked out much more in his favor. And I think he continued to double down on innocence when the evidence that I explicitly saw, like not even like, you know, going off of secondhand knowledge, like actual like proceedings in this and reporting directly from the trial.
Can you specify a little bit if there's any that are a particular, you know, that have some shut up energy to them? If you understand what I mean.
I don't think there's any shut up energy in this, because I think people have already made up their minds.
Right.
But I do think that TORY continued to double down on the situations, and like with recordings that kind of alluded to certain things, with you know, tweets saying like, oh, I'm not gonna do this, I'm not gonna do that. And you know, I think that he had a lot of chances to kind of dial back his rhetoric a little bit, to kind of show some remorse, and I don't think he did. So you know, I don't think he's the most evil person to ever walk the face of the earth, but I definitely think that his behavior in the situation showcased a certain level of malice to a person that I think warrants a very hefty punishment. And I hope that during his sentence, which I hope is closer to the full one than I think it actually will be, just having some experience with that kind of thing, I hope that he learns that he fucked up and that he should have did better. And I hope that he comes to some level of repentance within himself.
I doubt it, just based on how prison works, but that would be the ideal if it was actually like an opportunity for growth or some shit, but I highly doubt it. The last little bit I would say is just in terms of giving old boy the benefit of the doubt. And it goes back like to what we said about the Gordon Ramsay shit. I'm kind of like, I don't know him in terms of like interpersonal shit.
True.
The nigga makes amazing music. That's one data point. And he shot Meg Thee Stallion. Those are the two things I know about him as a person. So I really don't have any evidence to go like, oh, he's a kind person or he's a decent person who had a wild flare of anger in a situation that, you know, caused him to lash out, which happens. Everybody's one day away from doing some wild shit that can land him in jail. I believe that. But those are only two things I know about him. I don't know anything. I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's giving out turkeys in Toronto. I'm not sure, but I don't know anything else about him.
I mean, hey, he helped people during the pandemic with laughter. I mean, that's the only other thing I can think of.
Did like at his expense, or
this nigga said maybe he's the fucking Toronto Nino Brown or some shit. Like it's just like fucking
which wouldn't even make sense because they don't even think they have Thanksgiving. But you know,
it's like Boxing Day or some shit, right? I don't know, man. Canadian listeners sound off. I don't know what the fucking they have something during that time, right? They got something. I don't know.
They have some kind of a relate. Yeah.
Because it's weird, like a lot of people, I think they do kind of have like some sort of like Thanksgiving issue. But I'm like, how the fuck are these other countries celebrating Thanksgiving when that was like a...
But they also have an indigenous population that they murdered as well. So like they would have had the same thing.
Yeah, but it ain't on the same day.
That was fucking true.
Niggas ain't...
That was a bar. That was a bar. that was a bar for real.
I mean, what country doesn't, right? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
except for the Caucasus Mountains.
But I think we're at time, so we can wrap it up here. If you are judging people for their predilections to be dominated within the bedroom, you could be waving a red flag.
Alvin didn't say shit during that segment.
Hey man, we can revisit it, man.
But y'all niggas,
hey man, come back for part 2 next week when we have more time.
Let's go.
However,
gets pegged.
Yeah.
No.
However, if you are brandishing your weapon and physically threatening other people, then you may be waving the red flag.
That's that new shit. That nigga brandash.
I'm about to brandash this motherfucker on yo. I'm about to brandash this chair on your ass.
Digital brandash.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been Alvin. It's been Josh. It's been Eddie. For Waving the Red podcast. Make sure that you are tuning in when we go live. It's usually a good time. Sometimes I'm on there, sometimes I'm not. Make sure that you're following us on all social media platforms. We are there. We do have a presence on all of them. Make sure you're checking us out on Spotify. Make sure you're checking us out on Apple Podcasts. Wherever podcasts are there, your boys is down. We are in the spot. And yeah,
subscribe. Leave them comments. Become a member on Patreon, Spotify, or YouTube to get full content.
Hit that
uncensored.
Yeah.
Live shows. Oh yeah. Turn on the
God damn.
Notification bell.
Turn on that
What's
notification.
Turn the notification, shorten it.
You know, this nigga's drunk, man. He's been drinking red wine this whole time, trying to live forever.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to get that fennel inside me. Red wine. That's me, baby.
I was going
Pinot
with
Noir.
Forever Young. That's the song that popped up in my head.
Good job.
I hope we got that.
Liquors for me is never enough.
Bars all around.
Never too much. All right.
It's a red flag.